Here's another episode of Practice Test Question Discussion. And yes, I have my son here. He wanted to listen to some music, so we'll do that here real quick. He'll be good here for the next few minutes while we talk about practice test questions. Let's take a look at what this is. You are developing a new gateway type payment method, and you have the following configuration. You notice that custom sale command is never triggered in the checkout. What do you change? There's a lot to this question. And to be frank, there's a lot packed into the code we're going to see in just a second. However, it's very important to understand you're going to be facing questions like this on the test. Like, you are legitimate going to be facing questions like this, and it's going to be difficult to figure out in the midst of it, in the heat of everything. Like, looking at all this code back here, it's like, how do I answer this question? And in reality, most of these is boiled down to a much easier answer, and that's the case in this question here. So let's jump in and take a look at this code again. So we have our custom pool command. We have our list of commands. We have sale, custom sale command. The custom sale command maps out to a virtual type, which extends the gateway command, which basically we're passing in some parameters into this, and I even cut out some of the parameters to show you clearly here in this rendition. So yeah, there's a lot of different pieces and a lot of text. Again, if you're not familiar with this stuff, it's just like being hit with a wall of garbage, word puke, letter puke, whatever you want to call it. That it's like, what does this mean? So this is where the study comes in is very important. So I am in the process right now of updating the Expert Developer course. This is kind of a question. Well, this is a question that would come from Expert Developer. I'm in the process of updating that myself and taking a little bit of a different approach with that on this new go around on this update. And I'm really excited about the progress that I'm making in this. So let's jump into the code and see exactly how this works there. And see, I told you he was going to be good. Listens to his music, he's fine. So let's see what the code has to say here. So what I have pulled together is an example from the Master Architect conversation, the study guide and example project that goes with it. And in there is some documentation. There is a sample gateway command payment method. It's like, cool, I already have this built out. Like, this couldn't be any easier to demonstrate. So as we jump in here, so I just placed an order with this Super Payments integration. Again, it's very basic, but Super Payments is pretty awesome in that it already gave me all the keys I need to just pull this example together. So that's nice. All right, so here's what happens very quickly when placing an order. Xdebug, your best friend to placing an order and understanding what's happening here. So let's just quickly do a review here. So we see here on the order model, we have a place method which calls place payment. It goes down here through a number of operations. I highly recommend in your studies that you understand what happens at most of these levels. I mean, not memorizing the code, of course, but like that you understand what's happening here. So let's then see here. I lost my other spot. All right, so we see in here we have. I'm jumping ahead. Let's back up a little bit. Capture is the code word I'm looking for here. All right, so we have process action. Our action is authorize and capture. Let's back up a little bit further. Right here is good. All right, so we have our place order method here, and this is on the payment class. Now we drop down, we see what's going on here. Again, I'm not going to take time to jump into this. We dive into this in our current Expert Developer, and we will definitely be doing more of that here in the new version of this course. We have our action. The action is authorize and capture. Method name get config payment action, which ultimately is part of our payment command here. Anyways, we'll keep going here. Then so it comes down to our processing, this process action, we have our action which ultimately is return, authorize, and capture. And we have our drops down into our capture method, which payment processor capture, and it goes here into capture operation, etc. So the big question is, we end up into this place of can capture, whether or not this is available. So this can perform command, jump in here, this get configured value, can capture. Well, if we look back here, and this is a really quick overview, so there's a lot more that we can dive into this. I mean, we can spend hours on this, but a very quick overview here. We have our default value handler, which was specified here. We have our configuration values, et cetera, but ultimately we will see that we have our value handler pool, and we'll handle this, jump in, the get store, we don't need to do anything there, get value, and there we are making some noise right there. All right, so let's jump in here. So yes, it returned, it can capture, and ultimately, so that returns true, the capture case, and then this capture. So what's happening here is in the practice test question, and let's just go look at that real quick. That was hopefully a very basic, very quick overview. We have this called sale. And by default, from the way I read the code, sale is not a default command. Now, if you look at the Braintree module, sale is present there. But by default, sale is not available. So again, you can build it out. So the proper command is capture. We have commands. We have our capture command here. So ultimately, the final solution is quite simple. It's the fact that we need to change from sale to capture, and now this command will run by default. So there is your practice test question for the week with my son here in attendance, and I would say he was pretty good listening to his music.